What's up, guys? Welcome back. My name is Luke, and yes, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. So today we're gonna be reacting to a very interesting video I came across. It's a reactional video by Abba and Perch. It's a recent video that I watched, and I just wanted to give my 2 cents because I feel like this issue is really not being spoken about. So let's get into it.
It's Luke M.
On Friday, a foreign tourist in India put up a video on Instagram. She was talking about her travels in India and she had bruises on her face. She had been gang raped by 7 men during her trip.
Something has happened to us that we would not wish on anyone. 7 men aid me. They have beaten us and robbed us, although not many things, because what they wanted was to Amy. We are in the hospital with police. It happened tonight here in India.
This incident happened in the state of Jharkhand. Her husband, who was with her, was beaten up badly. The story led to a lot of outrage and condemnation. The authorities swung into action. 3 of the accused have been caught. 4 others are on the run. Now, this is not the first such incident in the country. Chances are it won't be the last. Every 18 minutes, a woman is raped in India. This is data from the government of India. And this incident has sparked a fierce debate on social media about women's safety and women tourists.
Is India safe for women tourists?
No. India's not even safe for Indian women. Ask a local Indian woman if she feels safe in India. There's a rape every 18 minutes, and I'm sure the number is probably higher than that.
Yeah. Isn't it supposed to be that, right? Citizens of the country respect foreigners more because foreigners who somehow share the experience and somehow paint a good light on your country based on the way you've treated them. But then again, if this happens in that country, right, where 7 people sexually assault and sexually abuse visitors in that country, doesn't that paint the whole country black? Red, in fact. Doesn't that paint the whole country red? And not only that, this is telling and it's revealing quite a lot. If citizens and residents of a particular country can treat foreign nationals from another country in such a manner, how are they treating their own people? Again, I feel like this whole incident actually sheds light on the terror and atrocity a lot of people have to endure, or rather, much more vulnerable people in this particular country, in India, have to endure and have to go through.
But we'll get to that later.
Over the weekend, Indians and foreigners shared their stories. They all had one thing in common: how they faced sexual harassment or have been a witness to it. One such post got a response from the chief of India's National Commission for Women. Rekha Sharma commented on the post. She questioned why the person didn't report it and asked them to not defame the whole country. But was the tweet defaming India? Or are these heinous incidents doing that? In 2023, a Korean vlogger was harassed in Rajasthan. That same year, a Dutch tourist was murdered and stabbed in Goa. In 2018, a British tourist was raped in Goa too. In 2016, an American woman alleged she was gang raped in a hotel in the national capital. In 2013, a Swiss tourist was gang raped by 6 men. They were later sentenced to life in prison. And it's not just foreign tourists. Indian women have faced the brunt as well. Every day, an average of 90 rapes are recorded. In 2013, the country amended its rape law. It broadened the definition.
You know what's crazy? You see how, first and foremost, this person in authority actually went to the fact and pointed out the fact that, oh no, don't defame the whole country. It's crazy how majority of people will not actually address the issue, but to some extent, we're not addressing the issue, but we're trying to keep a clean slate and a clean image of our country. Whilst we know behind closed doors, there's actually bloodshedding. I feel like people like this, people in authority, are actually to be blamed for all this entire thing. Because are you going to tell me to keep quiet when things like this are happening? When there's actually clean curtains, but behind clean curtains, there's actually a pool of blood. And a lot of people are actually crying. But then again, you want to put up a front and say, oh, no, our country is actually clean. Guys, come visit. When people visit, these things happen. I mean, if you're trying to keep a clean slate and you don't want to tell the world the horrific things occurring in your country, I can actually imagine the length you go to just so that you can actually suppress a lot of the stats. Because guess what? You guys are actually coming up with the stats. So I can imagine, I personally felt it's worse than this. It's not every 18 minutes. And I don't think the number is 90. It's more than this.
It's funny to say that, but it's
The
crazy.
funniest part of the story?
There's a funny part. These people travel everywhere on motorbikes. They traveled through Afghanistan and then Pakistan and then arrived in India. Do you understand how fucked up your country gotta be for you to feel safe in Afghanistan
And Pakistan.
and then end up in India, and that's when you get attacked? Now, they did pitch a tent outside of a city after being seen by a bunch of people. Not exactly the safest thing you could do. And honestly, some tourists, when they travel to some places, they don't really take too many liberties to protect themselves. But does that make what happened here okay? No. I'm just telling you guys watching at home, when you're a foreigner in a lot of these countries, okay, especially these poorer, less developed countries, everybody notices you because you just stand out like a sore thumb. And you look like you got money. So they're going to pay attention to you. Some of them are going to follow you. It doesn't make it okay, but you got to just be aware. When you pitch a tent just outside the city, most people are going to know exactly where you are. So, not exactly the safest habit of living. I understand they wanted to travel freely and not spend too. It's just not smart in some places. So that's one thing to talk about. But the other thing is, India, in terms of its culture surrounding this topic, is pretty twisted. Their views on what constitutes grape are crazy.
That was ridiculous. Jeez. This is so disgusting, yeah. It is so flippin' disgusting.
These are some things that came out of not just grapists over there, but also politicians. Okay, so these are elected officials, leaders who make the laws, who enforce a lot of these things. Let's listen. All right, he's a grapist. Okay, when being graped, she shouldn't fight back. She should just listen in silent and allow the grape. And then they'd have to drop her off after doing her, and only hit the boy. You can't clap with one hand. It takes two hands. A decent girl won't roam around at 9 o'clock at night. A girl is far more responsible for a grape than a boy. Boy and girl are not equal. Housework and housekeeping is for girls, not roaming in discos and bars at night doing the wrong things, wearing the wrong clothes. About 20% of girls are good. Good Lord. Let's go to somebody else. This is a defense lawyer. If my daughter or sister engaged in premarital activities and disgraced herself and allowed herself to lose face and character by doing such things, I would most certainly take this sort of sister or daughter to my farmhouse, and in front of my entire family, I would put petrol on her and set her alight.
This is a leader. This is actually a person in authority. And this is what they have to say about the happenings in their country. It's like leaders are at the forefront of this. Even though they don't want to state it directly, but based on this people's statement, or rather this first guy's statement, already it's painted in red.
About a grapist, he says, only 5 to 6 people are not the culprits. The victim's daughter is also as guilty as her rapists.
God damn.
She should have called the culprits' brothers and begged for them to stop. This could have saved her dignity in life. Can you clap with one hand? I don't think so. I guess that's a line over there. I've heard this like twice now. Can you clap with one hand?
And that doesn't mean the same thing.
Good Lord.
It doesn't mean the same thing here.
It is not that women do not like grape. They like sometimes. They willingly. That is the psychology. Outwardly, they show some displeasure, but inwardly, they do not.
Why are you reading it like that?
Because
I'm not pointing fingers yet. I'm just saying the most ridiculous thing I find about a lot of religious societies is that women, to some extent, or rather to a large extent, even though we don't say it directly, are somehow perceived as lesser than. And this is actually an example of it, because I know India is one of the most religious countries ever. Like it's so religious. And so to a large extent, this is actually just an indication of that. And somehow most men have the idea that women are just objects. And this is just an indication. So, yeah.
because it was written like that. Read it.
Goddamn.
Read it.
It's not that the women do not like grape. They like some.
Rasemwak Paikra says, no one commits grape intentionally. It happens by mistake. Sawaji Party. Grape is punishable by hanging in Islam. But here, nothing happens to women, only to men. Even the woman is guilty. Solution to this: if any woman, whether married or unmarried, goes along with a man with or without her consent, she should be hanged. Both should be hanged. It shouldn't be allowed even if a woman goes by consent. So again, understand the reason why I'm bringing up all these quotes. These aren't nobodies. These are leaders of political parties. These are members of political parties. And when you have this kind of mindset that not only permeates throughout the culture, but is openly espoused, you can understand why a lot of this happens and is normalized. A lot of people who come forward are shamed for it. A lot of the women who have this happen to them have no recourse because they're never going to be taken seriously. So even though they're trying to be more progressive, unfortunately, a lot of times the culture hasn't caught up to the ideals of some of the leaders. Former CBI director, if you cannot stop a grape, you enjoy it.
God damn.
Oh, jeez. You know what's crazy? Because I watch a lot of indie movies, yeah? Well, it's been a while since I watched like an indie movie. And in most of these movies, like grape is like one of those things that is a taboo. And majority of the time in these movies, let's say an incident like that had to happen to a woman and a family, to a young daughter of a family, you would see that all of a sudden society will begin to shun her. She becomes a social reject. There's that stigma to her, and most of the times, most of them don't even get married. And I do believe that's actually these movies are just a reflection of what happens in their country and how these things are actually perceived. But then that again is not actually addressing the issue. In as much as you can actually play this in the movies over and over again, trying to address that specific issue in this country, that's actually, personally, I felt that's actually not addressing the issue and facing it directly. I think a direct approach to this whole issue would be to hold leaders accountable. Leaders should actually be held accountable, because I do believe, based on all the quotes we actually listened to, or rather read, you can actually tell that leaders are actually responsible for this atmosphere and this culture. It's actually not the people.
That's another word to say. So you just got to know what countries you're going to. You know, Taj Mahal looks cool. Don't mean you need to see it. All right. And if you're going to go there, you're going to be harassed. This is not my opinion. This is every tourist who's ever been there who's a female. And even men, they get harassed, not because of grape or anything, but because of money. People follow them down the street, ask them if they need a ride, if they need to be taken somewhere, they need a haircut. People are always trying to make quick buck because money is money. So you have to understand, a lot of places in the world, as unsafe as North America might seem, or some places, you have no idea how much worse it gets out there for some of you. So I would highly recommend against it. And I'm very comfortable saying that.
Do you want to go visit India?
It was literally never on my list.
No?
Never.
Yeah. Nah, I'm going to stay here.
It's not like I don't like the food culture or something, but outside of that, there's no reason for me to want to go.
It's very important, as a person from first world country visiting this countries, third world countries, it's very important that you put extra layers of protection in place just so that you can avoid these issues. Because majority of the time, the media actually does not portray the ugly side to their countries, because that's bad for their country. And so if these people didn't actually post the whole incident on social media, as the public, we're not going to know about the whole incident. The country was going to make sure that they suppress the whole thing so that people don't know, and they were going to address it internally. So yeah, it's very important. If you're visiting third world countries, ensure you have those extra layers of protection. You put measures in place to keep you safe in these countries, because guys, people are hungry in these countries. Situations and conditions and the state of living in these countries are actually so flipping bad. You would not imagine. As a person from a first world country, they perceive you as an opportunity. You're an opportunity and you have something they want. To some extent, yes. They'll always perceive you as, damn, this person has something that I want. And so, guys, it's very important, because this reminds me of an incident that happened with this YouTuber. I don't know if you guys know him, Kai Cenat. It was in Nigeria recently, and so...
Give him cash, bring cash. You have to drop cash unless you're not going to leave this place. How much? Just bring like 5. Just bring like 5. You give it to, you can give tip. You know what you're going to do? I'll get some. Wait. Hold the fuck on. Hold on, bro. Hold on. 5. 5K. No, give him. Let's go. You know what you're going to do? You have all the cash. You know what you're going to do? Huh? I love you. This is no money. I love you. I said, give me no money.
yeah, if this guy did not have the security around him, the layer of protection measures in place to ensure that he's safe, this man was going to be torn into pieces. Because, wow, these people wanted money from him. These people were blocking the cars from moving because they wanted money. Otherwise, they were not going to let him go. So you guys can imagine. So as tourists visiting these countries, ensure you have extra layers of protection. Because yes, I do feel to some extent it's ignorant to assume that, oh, guess what? Because we've in this particular continent, because we've been to this country and people treated us well, this and this, it's so ignorant to assume that every other country will treat you the same. And so yeah, I really feel sorry for these people. And yeah, this is so bad, and this needs to be addressed at the top level. Yeah, what was the statement? The statement was basically, welcome to India where cows are safer than women, which is a painful thing to hear or read. It's a very painful thing to hear. That's it from me. Thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to leave your thoughts below. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to share. And yes, don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate it. Let's get to 1,000. And yes, I guess I'll be seeing you on the next one. Ciao.